On today's podcast episode, you'll discover what exactly is the CliftonStrengths assessment, what you receive from Gallup when you take this assessment. Plus, I'm sharing 8 simple tips to help you make the most of your reports and this new information about yourself after you take the assessment. Welcome to the Discovering Your Calling podcast. I'm your host, Sherry Miter. I'm here to help you unleash your strengths and get clarity on your calling. I believe when you find your purpose in life, fulfillment, joy, and success will follow. If you're ready, pop in those earbuds, hit that follow button, and join me on this journey toward discovering your calling. I hear this all the time. Oh, CliftonStrengths, StrengthsFinders. Yeah, I feel like I took that once for work, but I don't really remember what was it a talent? What was that? And again, I hear it over and over and over again. Or sometimes I hear people like myself like, oh yeah, I remember taking that. That was pretty cool. Like, how did they know that about me? But rarely do people do anything with this information. And honestly, I was the same way. I was guilty of this thought because I first experienced CliftonStrengths in May of 2016. And I always say the only reason I know that date because it's on the printed report. But anyway, when I first took the assessment and I remember getting my top 5 report back, I remember reading through it and thinking, wow, this is really cool. Like, how did they know that about me? But then I tucked it away because I didn't understand how valuable this information was about myself. And I definitely had no idea what to do with the information to make the most of it. And here's the thing, my friend, I don't want that to be you. So today, I'm going to break down for you, first of all, what is the CliftonStrengths assessment? And 2, if you haven't done it yet, what you will receive from Gallup. And even if you did take it, there's probably some things you didn't know that are available for you just by taking the assessment. And 3, I'm going to break down the 8 tips that I have for you, simple tips that you can start doing today to make the most of your report so that you can really increase the chances of finding that success in your life and work and in finding your calling. And, let's back up though a little bit. It's like, why don't we understand these reports? And why don't we take the time to really dive into them? And a lot of times it's just that sometimes I have heard this before, that a college or a work environment, they think they're going to do this great thing for their team. So they have everybody take the assessment and maybe they even do a 1-hour workshop. But that is not enough to really understand the power of CliftonStrengths. So a lot of times it's just because we had to take the assessment and then we sat through this workshop, but then nobody really explained what to do with that information. So like all the other assessments we've had to take for work, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC, and all the things, we just kind of tuck that information away. The other thing that happens that I see happen over and over and over again, and again, this happened to me, I didn't know what to do with the information and how it could benefit me once I did understand the information. And I want to take today to really just kind of give you a little bit more information, a little bit more eye-opening thoughts. And again, those practical tips that you can start implementing so that doesn't happen to you, because it is an investment in yourself. It takes time to sit down and take the assessment, about 30 to 45 minutes. And it also is a financial investment. So let's make the most of it. Okay. All right. So starting with, what is the CliftonStrengths assessment and the reports? So CliftonStrengths is owned by Gallup. It's a psychometric based on positive psychology assessment. It's tons of research. It is not a fly-by-night thing. It's been around for decades. And I think we just crossed 34 million people have taken the assessment over the globe. Pretty exciting. But what it does is it tells you what your unique talent profile looks like. And talent themes are based on, again, research. And it's basically, though, how you naturally think, feel, and behave. It's what makes you unique. And some of the benefits of the CliftonStrengths 34 is that improved awareness of these natural talents. Again, how you naturally think, feel, and behave. Because when you're aware of that, then you can start using those natural talents to find success. It also gives you greater confidence and empowerment. There is something so powerful when you start recognizing like, oh, this is my superpower. This is what makes me great, at this job. This is how I can take this talent and use it to succeed in life. And there's confidence that comes from that empowerment. Another benefit from taking the Clifton Strengths assessment is it becomes an easy way to describe your unique talent DNA. So your talents are unique to you. They're what you're born with. I like to think that they're what God put inside of you. And once you take the assessment and you have this new language, it becomes an easy way to express that to others. Especially think about like a job interview where they might say, well, what are your strengths that you'll bring to the organization? And a lot of times we stumble over that. And once you take the assessment, it gives you an easy language to use when you're asked that question. It also helps to improve performance at work and anywhere. Because basically when you know how you naturally think, feel, and behave, and you learn how to, use those natural gifts, you are naturally going to become better at your work, no matter where you work and what you're doing. It also helps you see what environment you need to thrive in. And when you can match the two, that's where life just gets really super fun and you become much more impactful and probably making more income at the same time. So it helps improve your performance at work and in your life. Another benefit is that you will have success in spite of your weaknesses. So often, people want us to focus on fixing our weaknesses. And this is entirely based on positive psychology. Don Clifton studied all this way back when. And it's all about, instead of worrying about fixing our weaknesses, we want to be aware of our weaknesses, but we want to work on honing in and perfecting our natural strengths. And that's when we have the biggest chance of that success that we're looking for. So these strategies that you'll learn by understanding your natural talent DNA can give you the chance of success exponentially increase that chance of success. I want to add one more here is it also helps in relationship building because when you can start to understand why and how you naturally think, feel, and behave, but you also understand how your coworkers naturally think, feel, and behave, or how your spouse does. Your relationships are going to change. You're going to start to understand, oh, they're not doing that to annoy me. They're doing that because that's just the way they are. And we can learn to respect that more and lean into and look to each other for support when we need those talents to shine. Now, once you take the assessment, what are you going to get? What do you get from Gallup when you go and you spend the time and invest in taking the Clifton Strengths assessment? Well, first of all, you're going to get your Clifton Strengths 34 report if you do the full 34. There is a top 5 option as well. I usually recommend to my clients just spend a little bit more to do the full 34 report. Now, if the budget's tight, top 5's better than nothing. And or if you did do the top 5 years ago, you can always upgrade to the full 34 without having to take the assessment all over again. All right, back to what you're going to get. So in this 34 report, you will get a detailed breakdown of your top 10 Clifton Strengths themes, which includes action items and ideas that you can implement on how to use these themes. There's a great description that I absolutely love this part of it because it's unique to you and it describes how that talent theme shows up in your life. And I love, love, love reading those with my clients because they're all different. There may be 3 people with a communication talent theme, but based on where the rest of their talent themes lie on their full 34 report, the description is different and unique. And this is one of the reasons why I am obsessed with Clifton Strengths, because I don't know any other assessment out there that is customized and unique to each individual like this is. So you get that unique description based on how all 34 themes showed up on your report, not just that one talent theme. You get action items, as I said. You also get the potential blind spots for each theme. And this is like what to be aware of and how that talent theme could be a negative in your life or show up in a way that maybe others interpret it that can kind of not be in a good way. And just to be aware of those things. You also get advice on how to navigate your 11 through 34 themes. And also, it gives you ideas on how to identify and manage those potential weaknesses. And for the sake of CliftonStrengths, your weaknesses aren't necessarily what's lying on the bottom 34 of your talent themes. Your weaknesses might be one of your talent themes, but you're not using it the right way, or you're letting it live in its blind spot area and not as a powerful superpower for you. So you get advice on how to manage that. You are also going to receive from Gallup more learning materials. And this is the part that a lot of people aren't aware that they have these waiting for them in their Gallup folder. Because once you take the assessment, you are created an account on Gallup, and you can always go back in there. So even if you took the assessment 10 years ago at work, you can go in and Gallup's not source, but their customer service is very used to this. They can help you find your assessment. It lives in there forever based on the email. And even if you don't work at that company anymore, they can usually still find it for you, which is pretty cool. Or you can retake it if you'd rather. But anyway, inside there, you also receive a StrengthsFinder 2.0 ebook. And this is written by Don Clifton, and this helps describe all the different talent themes so you can kind of really study what your top 10 mean in the StrengthsFinders 2.0 book. It's a really, really awesome, short, easy to read book. The other thing you have from Gallup is you have other additional learning tools. There's actually a video learning module that is included in everybody's once you take the assessment, and some other tips and tools online in Gallup's website for you to really become a student of yourself is how I like to look at it. For the past few months, you've heard me share what I love about Magic Mind. And Magic Mind is a mental performance shot, like a little drinking shot, not a shot in your arm, that's full of great ingredients. And it's become my go-to morning hack to increase productivity. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want to share some of the opinions of other business professionals, actors, singers, even surfers who love and use Magic Mind. Here's what a few of them had to say. One professional shared, Magic Mind is motivation in a bottle, the best tool for helping me get into deep creative flow state. Others just shared how it fuels their creativity and productivity. One even saying that it lifts the brain fog so that they can conquer the to-do list with less distraction. Don't we all want that? And I love this. One musical artist said, he called it the game changer for their band, saying it helps with clarity, focus, and flow without messing with sleep patterns. And that's so important, right? So you can read more of these testimonials and reviews on www.magicmind.com. And when you're ready to try this little productivity hack for yourself, head to magicmind.com/DYC and use my code DYC20, and you'll get 20% off your first Magic Mind order. So hope you love it. Let me know what you think. Now, that being said, even after people have looked at these things, maybe they read the book, there's still this piece of like, all right, yeah, I have this report. It sounds really cool again, but they really still don't really understand what to do with all this information. And this is where these 8 practical, easy to implement steps come in. So once you do the assessment, here's how I recommend you take this information and make the most of it. Number 1, print it out. Print it out. It's worth having access to, easy access to it. Don't just keep it online. You'll never look at it. So print it out and read through the reports. And here's the key step. highlight what stands out to you. Now, what are you going to highlight? You're going to look for the things in the description, especially that customized description I mentioned earlier. Look for things that just make you say like, oh, yes, I definitely do that. Yes, that definitely sounds like me. Highlight that, underline that. Maybe you'll read something and you think, oh, wow, yeah, I used to do that, but I don't anymore. Make note of that. Or maybe you read something that just makes you go, I never thought about this, because sometimes we don't recognize our own natural talents and strengths and how they're showing up in our world and in our lives. And maybe there's going to be other things that you read and it's like, I don't even really understand this. So make note, highlight that, circle that. So your customized, printed out Clifton Strengths report should be all marked up by you. The more you can make notes on it and circle things and highlight it, the more it's going to become this life-giving report for you. And I recommend keeping it accessible. I love to read through my report at least once a month. At the minimum, once a quarter, you should read through your report. And every time you do, you'll read something new about yourself that you missed last time, because it's kind of based on what's happening in your world and how each different talent theme shows up, and how you can use it more. Sometimes you need to lean onto, this talent theme, but at other times in your life, you need to lean into this talent theme. So the more you become aware of that, the more valuable this report becomes. So print out the report, read through it, and highlight what stands out to you. The second tip I have for you is share your Clifton Strengths 34 reports with a close friend or a peer or even a supervisor or maybe a spouse and see what they think. Share with a couple of people. And why do you want to do that? Because others often see things in us we don't see in ourselves. The good stuff, but sometimes the bad as well. So there may be things that you read, they're like, oh, wow, that doesn't sound like me. And they may read it as like, oh, yeah, that's definitely you, sister. That is definitely you. And ask them, are they surprised by the results? And why or why not? And what other observations did they see when they looked through the report about you? Again, they may see things that we don't see about ourselves. So number 2 is just share your report with other close peers, friends, spouses, and get their opinion on it and their thoughts on it. The third tip is to look at your report and think about times when or how you've used your top 5 talent themes in your daily life. Maybe it was in the past or maybe it's currently. Like, when do you see them showing up? Make it tangible for you. Like, oh, yes, I use my strategic theme when I'm on the planning board at work. Or I was just talking to somebody today, I use my deliberate when I need to make a major buying decision. Like, when and how are they showing up in your life, or when or how did they show up in your life? And again, it's becoming aware of your talent themes and how they actually show up in your world so that you can start to be really super intentional with using them. The fourth tip is to hone in on your top 5. And what I mean by that is now taking them, and in your Clifton Strengths report, there is a section that says, take action to maximize your potential. Like, that's the title of it. Take action to maximize your potential. And what I recommend is you look at your top 5 and pick one action item underneath. And you can even just start with one of your top 5 talent themes. Pick one action item under that, take action to maximize your potential, and start doing that today. Start implementing it into your world, into your life. And once that becomes part of your routine, then pick another action item from another talent theme and do that. And that's actually tip number 5, is repeat that process over and over and over again. Pick a new talent theme weekly or monthly and an action item to do underneath them each week or each month. Now, I have also known some people that they just hone in on one talent theme for an entire year. If that resonates with you, then do that. Personally, I like to change it up, that I kind of really focus in on one a week or one a month. or you could do one a quarter. But really just hone in on those action items that they give you. You don't even have to think of these, which is pretty darn cool. Number 6, do what you can to study the report and refer back to it often. Now, I already kind of talked a little bit about this, but the key is not to really read through this report, do the action items, and then never look at it again. Refer back to it again. Maybe every night you could read through one talent theme. Maybe every quarter it is that you take the time to, spend a couple of hours reading through your report and studying about it, thinking about how can you use these talent themes in your life. So pick a routine of how you can really just study that report and study yourself, which leads me to tip number 7 is read the StrengthsFinder 2.0 book, the ebook that came with, that's there waiting for you. There's also the videos. And I also recommend listening to podcasts so that you become a student of your strengths. And there's some great podcasts out there. Actually, Gallup had a podcast called Theme Thursdays. They no longer make new ones of this one. They do have other podcast shows out there, but I loved Theme Thursday. And there's 8 years of podcasts about talent themes. Some of them are 1 minute long and others about an hour long. But become a student of your top 10. I also did a series, it was Uncharted Entrepreneurs at the time, but you can find it under the Discovering Your Calling podcast. And in 2021, I did this crazy 100-day series. And part of that series, I interviewed people with I don't think we hit 34, but I did 32 of the talent themes. So you can listen to those. Like I said, you have to scroll all the way back to 2021. And they're real life people that have these talent themes talking about how they show up in their life or how they get in their way of success. So they're very valuable. That was even before I was a certified coach that I did that series. So find resources. And a lot of them are already right there available for you for free. So your StrengthsFinders 2.0 book, there's videos on Gallup. There's a YouTube channel that Gallup has on Clifton Strengths. I have podcasts and then the Theme Thursday podcast. So become a student of your strengths. That's really number 7. Become a student of your strengths. And then number 8, if you want to go even deeper, I do recommend hire a coach or attend a live workshop. I'm available for a Start with Strengths debrief session, but there's a lot of other Clifton Strengths coaches out there. Look in your area, see if anybody's doing something, a workshop in person, or if there's virtual workshops on Clifton Strengths. That was the turning point for me when I went to a live in-person workshop. That was the really big moment for me. And I was also able to work with, a coach to kind of help me really understand my talent themes. And that was the turning point of my life, really. So I hope these 8 points did help. I'm going to go back through them again quickly here for you. So number 1, print out and read through your reports and highlight what stands out to you. Number 2, share your Clifton Strengths 34 report with a close friend, peer, supervisor, spouse, with others to see what they think. Number 3, think about times when or how you did use your top 5 talent themes and strengths. How do they show up in your daily life today or in the past? Get tangible examples of it. Number 4, hone in on your top 5 and the action steps. So take action to maximize your potential with your top 5. Number 5, repeat this step over and over and over again. So continue to take action to maximize your potential with your talent themes. Number 6, do what you can to study the report and refer back to it often. Don't tuck it away. Don't make the mistake I made initially, but keep it handy. Get in a routine of rereading that report, whether it be weekly, nightly, a part of it, quarterly, yearly. Don't do yearly, quarterly at the least for now. And number 7, read through, study things, watch the videos, listen to podcasts, become a student of your strengths. And number 8, if you want more, hire a coach or attend a workshop. So I hope these tips were valuable to you. If you haven't taken the Clifton Strengths assessment yet, I highly recommend it. It's such an eye-opening assessment. And if you have, years ago, if you're one of those people like I was, like, oh yeah, I think I took that, head over to Gallup and see if they can help you track that down, or maybe just go take it again and take these tips and steps and really start utilizing this valuable information. All right. If you have any questions, reach out. I'm always available in Messenger on Facebook, or you can email me at sherry@discoveringyourcalling.com. Thank you for spending this time with me. My hope is something you heard today inspires you to take action toward discovering your calling. I just have 2 favors to ask of you before you go. 1, if you found value and enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you might hear your review read on a future episode. And 2, can you share this episode with 3 friends who will also enjoy it as much as you did? By doing these things, you will help us grow the podcast to make a bigger impact on the world. And until next week, remember, you've been created to live a life of fulfillment, freedom, purpose, success, and joy.